Over half of my closet is secondhand, so when I am buying something new, especially when it's a staple piece that I want to have in my closet forever, which is the majority of what I'm buying new, I want to make sure that I am buying something good. Good quality, fit my style forever, timeless, comfortable, all of these things. And recently I went on the hunt to find the best pair of boots. I had a few requirements based on my style choices. The first is a short boot. I'm not a tall boot girly. The heel also, so I'm talking about the height of the boot up my leg, had to be short. The heel of the boot, I didn't want to be so tall that I wasn't reaching for it. I was okay with something taller, but not like too tall. I wanted a square toe, and I wanted them not to be black. If you've been watching this channel, you know that I'm banned from buying anything black. So I wanted the color to be a brown or like a cherry brown kind of color. And I did find what I was looking for. But I tried so many different pairs of boots. I tried 7 pairs of boots for this. I'm going to cut right to the chase and tell you which boots I did keep. Yes, boots, I ended up keeping 2. And then I'll talk about the other boots because they are popular styles. So I wanted to tell you like why I didn't choose those ones. These are the 2 pairs of boots. They both have, a lot of wear to them. Ew, this one's actually disgusting. This is the Vagabond Blanca boot. And these are the Jeffrey Campbell Sherple booty. I also tried 3 other pairs from Vagabond Shoemaker. 2 that were called the Hedda boot, but were different styles, and the other was called the Ansie boot. The Tony Bianco Dusty boot, I really thought these would be the winners. And then the Steve Madden Pammy boot, which was the worst of the group. Okay, the Vagabond Shoemaker boots. I'm gonna scooch over a little bit so I can put some videos up here. The first Hedda boot had like a flexible shaft. Am I even allowed to say that word on YouTube? But it had a flexible top part of the boot. And I had commented, I posted all of these on TikTok too, and I had said that I felt like the material would flake off at any moment because of that flexible fabric. People in the comments said that they have the boot and they have not experienced anything like that, so that's great. But I also felt like the heel was a little bit too tall, or almost like the proportions of the heel to the rest of the shoe looked too tall, because both of the Hedda boots from Vagabond Shoemaker had the same or a very similar heel height to the Jeffrey Campbell Sherple booty that I ended up keeping. But I felt like the proportion of this boot just was so much better. Just how long the shoe is, how tall it is. It made the heel feel a lot more balanced rather than like, whoa, that's a high heel. You know what I mean? The other Hedda boot was a very good top contender, but I felt like the heel was a little bit too narrow. And I had pointed that out when I was looking at the photos online. I did not expect to keep the Blanca boot. I really did not. I thought I would have kept the Hedda boot. I wanted to see it in person though because of that. It was a square toe, but it was just a little bit narrow. And then oppositely, the Ansie boot, I love the Ansie boot. These are in black because they didn't have the brown color in stock when I was first looking at all of these. If I had a reason to keep them, I would have kept them for sure. I thought that they were just so cool. The big chunky heel and the wide toe, and I just felt like they could have added so much to an outfit. Literally, maybe if I have more closet space one day, I will just buy them and keep them. But at this time, I did return them. And then I ended up keeping the Blanca boot. I will say that this boot didn't meet all of the requirements that I originally laid out. Like, I did want a taller heel for sure. However, I have reached for these boots countless times. When I went home for the holidays, I literally only packed these boots and my sneakers. I've traveled the same exact way. I am going to be traveling, and all I'm packing are these boots, hiking boots, and my sneakers. That's it. They are so comfortable. I have been wearing them with everything. I just throw them on with any outfit and they dress it up a little bit. I can wear them to the office. I can wear them literally anywhere. They are so comfortable and they have held up beautifully. They look dusty right now. Yeah, they could use like some tender love and care right now, but I just loved the toe shape. I thought the toe shape, with it being such a wide square, was so good and was what I was looking for in the Hedda boot, and is what ultimately made me land on this boot. Just overall, so comfortable. So that was kind of like the Vagabond Shoemaker round, and then I had these 3 other pairs from Jeffrey Campbell, Tony Bianco, and Steve Madden. Let's just get the Steve Madden pair out of the way. Steve Madden is a great brand for dupes. Like, I can appreciate them up and down. but this boot just looked so cheap and I really loved the shape of it. And I obviously loved the price of it. It was like half the price of the other boots. All of these boots were around $200 and the Pammy boot was about $100. Maybe it would have looked better in a different color, but in the kind of like light brown color that I bought it in, ugh, not good. Especially lined up to all of these other boots, it just looked so cheap. The Tony Bianco boot, I really thought would be the winners. Like, I watched so many videos about them. The only thing I was worried about was the heel height again. And I do think that the silhouette, again, there's something about maybe how they do this part that makes the Tony Bianco heel just look gigantic. It was the tallest heel of the batch, but ultimately the main reason why I did not pick that boot was because it rubbed right here at the top of the zipper, which is kind of like a silly little detail. But when I am looking at 7 pairs of boots, I do need to pay attention to those types of details. And it just was like, it wasn't even rubbing, it was like scratchy and sharp. But then I didn't see anything that was sharp there that I could like cut off or something. And they were the most expensive boot out of the batch, so ultimately they lost. The boot that won the entire thing, like the Bianco boot, was almost like an honorable mention and is now the winner, now that this is like 3 months later. But as for what I was actually looking for, these boots were the winner from Jeffrey Campbell. I have worn them only a couple of times because I look at them more as like a dress-up shoe. So I wore them out for a girls' night, I wore them to my office holiday party, that sort of stuff. And I do think that they have held up beautifully just for that. Like, both of those nights I walked a lot. I loved the heel shape. I thought that it was the perfect mix of like a still square but a little bit narrow, a little bit elongating maybe. And the color won me over so much. I love that it can be a cherry brown, like it can be more red in certain lights, and then it can just be a dark brown in other lights. And I feel like I can style it either way. Like, it's a very dynamic kind of color. I also just appreciated the details on the boot, like up here by the zipper. And overall, I'm just so happy with both of these purchases. I absolutely love testing basics or shopping intentionally, testing out my options. I think that this was definitely a category that I had 1 million options, or that you have 1 million options to shop. So I kind of tried to take like the top few recommended plus a few extras and just test them for comfort, quality, style, everything. And like I said, I am so happy with the Bianco boot and the Sherpa bootie, and I will keep you updated on any other categories that I do a similar test in.